Hello YouTube, this is Zayn26 and today I'm going to show you a redstone tutorial on how I built my monster spawner. So yeah, first things first, I am in the starting room I showed you earlier. We have the door, the on and off switch, these two note blocks, and the 4 fault lights. Before I start, I want to say the number 1 fault light is the closest to the far wall. The number 4 is the farthest from the wall. That would be useful to note when I test it. So, first things first, the machine is actually off right now, so the clock is sealed off, so it won't continue to beep in case I decide to turn it off, or I press that lever over there and turn off this little beeper. So yeah, let me turn this on. There we go. And now the circuit is connected in the clock. Next thing you want to note is these. These are the heart of the entire machine. Okay, that's not helping. Yeah, so we got a redstone torch, acts like an infinite power supply, so we have a ring going all the way around these obsidian blocks down here, and when it gets interrupted at any point along that ring, from a creeper exploding, destroying the roof and a piece of redstone, it will turn off the power and trigger this inverter, triggering this power supply, which will activate this piston, sealing it off after 1 tick. This is to prevent the clock from staying perpetually on, because a clock that's on constantly is basically a input stabilizing cell like this. Power is just going in an infinite loop and it will never stop. So I will test this on sector number, I believe this is 3. Yeah, I think this is 3. So yeah, it's sealed off. It seals off the current after a tick to prevent the clock from going on perpetually. So now we got a clock going. We also have the input stabilizing cell I showed you a second ago. It's going around perpetually so the signal never dies. And like I said, this is sector 3 that I triggered. This is a perfect simulation of what would happen if a creeper exploded in sector 3. I would get this, the light would be off, and these two things would be going off in that order. So yeah, now I will turn it off. And now that I've turned the machine off, it will prevent any monsters from leaving the monster spawner, so they don't blow up inside the mechanisms. This is a reminder that I need to fix it, because if I just turned it off and on and then I left and I came back and turned it on because I realized it was off, I wouldn't stop to think about this if it was on again like the others. So I used the input stabilizing cell without a piston to prevent myself from forgetting. So all I have to do is break that and reconnect it, and then before that I need to fix this. I set up my own little protocol for that. I need to fix this, then cut off the input stabilizing cell and start over again. In the meantime, the other 4 sectors act exactly the same. Like this one, for example, this is sector 1. The torch is coming from over there, I believe. Yes, and it goes in a loop, comes down, hits an inverter, goes through the power supply right next to the little test pressure plate. The power goes through here, goes through this so it doesn't die out, goes through this to add an extra tick of delay so the power gets sealed off after a single tick. Got a couple of repeaters. Then it goes underground, and then it goes to this. It's a vertical transmitter. The reason for that is that the monster spawner is only 1 block. Basically, it's just on the other side of this wall. This entire side of the monster spawner is made out of obsidian. So I built it elevated, and with these 2 torches, to add a double inverter thing. And now with that, when I trigger it, I'll just trigger it to show you guys. Give me a sec here. Let me just turn off that, because that's very annoying. Clock, push down to reset. Ooh. Yeah, my mouse is a little too sensitive. So yeah, the two inverters work perfectly. So all the other sectors are exactly identical. Now what this little section does, and this section here, and this section here, and I'm missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Duh. So yeah, this one goes right into the clock, and the other 3 go underground to converge here. One comes from there, one comes from here, and the other one I just showed you comes in here, and it goes directly into the clock. So they all work in the same manner. They start up the ding dong sound, and they all have a separate current that goes in a different direction, turning on a input stabilizing cell, and that will go up to the torches, which act like an inverter. So once the power is on, the torch will go off. So that is basically what's going on underground. So next I will go upstairs and show you what that's all about. So I'm upstairs, and now I'm going to show you what's going on up here. First of all, the power switch goes directly under this block, so it will power this, and the power will come down all the way over here before diverging into 2 separate circuits. The first one goes to this piston here, these 2 pistons actually. It will seal off this section so no monsters can go in here and up into the little monster bin. So and this is the reason why it's why the switch looks different. It says off when it's down even though it's on, and on when it's up even though it's really off, because right now it's on and the power is actually off. So second current goes in here into these 4 pistons, and it will seal these off or open them depending on if the power is on or off. This prevents the monsters from getting out of here if I want to turn it off. Now the power also goes down here and closes these 4 pistons so that the monsters don't get fried down there, and it also closes them so the monsters can go down that pathway. And on the other side, you may have already seen this. It goes through here, through these inverters, 3 inverters to keep the signal the same, or opposite actually, so I don't have to go around in a circle. Then these are powered, so the monsters don't get fried, same as over there. Now, underground, we have this. This is the monster spawner, like I said. If I were to break one of these dirt blocks, which I will, I am directly above one of the sectors, which I believe is sector 3. And that's how that works. If a creeper explodes, it'll break the circuit. Now I got these 4 water sources that will go down here, converge here, and I will flood down here. Now there are squid down here, so yeah, they converge at these 4 points, and coincidentally they all go into the exact same spot. So these signs are designed to prevent the water from falling down. One interesting thing is that I discovered that monsters won't go up more than 2 water blocks. It's odd, but that's what I found. And I had to make it so that each of these sections goes in different directions. Well, they don't have to, the signs don't have to go in different directions actually. I just made it that way. The water, if it's more than 2 blocks high, it prevents the monsters from floating all the way up. They'll just stay like this. and they won't go anywhere. So, I will pretend to be a monster right now. So that's open because the machine's on, and these are closed because the machine's on. That's open because the machine's on. I flood down here under this sign, and like before, you got the signs going up. So I just keep floating up until I hit this little room up here with the glass on the roof to fry all of the monsters besides the creepers. I got these two signs to prevent the water, because without the signs, the water will just flood down that hole like it's a real hole, and the water won't go into these 3 blocks and push the monsters down the hallway. So I put these 2 signs here. If I take this one away, this one will pop off, so I can't really do anything about that. So I will activate the machine. Creeper dump. And I will continue to pretend to be a monster. And I will be pushed down this hallway. So I'm still holding the space bar, so I'm constantly jumping like a monster would be when its feet are in the water. So I fall down 22 blocks and take 9.5 hearts of damage. I am currently in the creeper bin. Note, seal upper gate before removing music discs, because otherwise creepers will just keep falling down. So now I will show you what it's like to be a skeleton in the same circumstances. If I push this button, come back over here, go through the same process, and then I go through there, and then I fall down here into a water cushion. That prevents me from taking too much damage because the skeleton isn't supposed to die. Now, this is temporary. The open gate is temporary. I need to close it very quickly, because if I don't, then something else might get in there that I don't want. So the mechanics of this are simple. You just got a piston and another piston under it closing off this area, and then inversely with an inverter, you got these 2 pistons sealing off this entire area behind this gold block, so that the skeleton just doesn't keep going that way, and the water will be diverted, flowing that way, pushing the skeleton in. And these blocks are here as a reference. Since this is all made of glass, it's kind of hard to see. So it goes under here, comes out over there, nothing really fancy. Same thing over here. It's not at all fancy. You got a switch under this block, powers these pistons and this piston. Actually, it's designed to be, it was 3 pistons, but I changed it to 2 when I decreased the size of the machine. Then I just put blocks over these pistons, and that's pretty much it for that. That's actually pretty much it. Took me a couple of weeks to design and build this. Took me a lot of testing and effort. I would appreciate it if you guys would leave a comment and say something or criticize me or something. I'd prefer that it wasn't that nasty, because I have gotten nasty emails and comments before. So yeah, this is pretty much it. Took me a very long time to make. I did not steal this idea from anyone. It is completely original. I built all of this by myself. I did not have any help from my brother, Sirius, aka Guitarman56, or my cousin, Volcamar J, aka, well, they're both actually the 2 people who run Lethal Combo Films. So yeah, I didn't have any help from any of them. I did this all by myself, and that's why it took me so long. So, this has been Zayn26, and I will see you guys next time, during my next incredible redstone invention.